Well, joining me is a gentleman who could be summed up in many ways, Mr. Consistency, one of our more astute horsemen, also one of nature's finest gentlemen. So you could put all those together and come up with just two words, Bernie Hewitt. I'm pleased to be joined by Bernie in between his commitments at Club Menangle. Well, nice to catch up with you once again, Bernie. I spoke to your son Doug on Saturday night with an interview for Club Menangle TV, and we're talking about the wonderful legacy the Hewitt family has been involved in as far as harness racing is concerned. It all began with your grandfather, Harold.
Yeah, that's right. Dad's dad, Harold, was involved with the horses many years ago, and used to race the horses as well as run a farm, and carried on with Dad and his brothers. They did the same, and then followed along us kids, like my brother David and Mark and my sister Jenna and myself. Jenna married Grant Pickers, so the Pickers are heavily involved as well, and now our children are all involved as well. Yeah.
Harold looked upon harness racing and being involved with the horses just as a hobby.
Yeah, that's right. You know, as his father even raced ponies years before that when he was younger too. So it was more a hobby. He was a sheep and cattle farmer, and always had a passion for the harness horses as well. So he started the ball rolling really.
But it was very humble beginnings as far as your father was concerned, building a house, a garage and two stables back in the 70s.
Yeah, that's right. When we were quite young, Dad ventured across the Lost River, or the Weo Creek, where they joined in his property and built a house and garage and two stables, and later on expanded, built a nice big shearing shed and plenty of other infrastructure, and then followed along more stables as the kids all grew up and got a passion for the game as well. We all were involved, and more stables come along as the years went on, and it ended up a pretty big show then.
Bernie, as a young fella, your father, along with his two brothers and three sisters, would head off to school or down the shops riding their ponies. Yeah,
that's right. You know, it was a fair old trip into town. I think it was about 20 or 19 miles or something back in those days, and everything was done on horseback in those days. So all Dad's sisters and brothers all rode horses all the time, as we all did when we grew up as well. It was all our sheep work and cattle work was done on the horses, and and so we're all quite accustomed to saddling one up and getting on and going. Yeah.
Certainly a tough life, Bernie, back in those days. They'd be working the horses in the early morning, sheep shearing as you just mentioned, and then back working the horses again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, we all did it, and I know my brothers and myself. We all went shearing. We used to do horses before we went to school, and used to back in those days actually drive the horses down and through the creek about 2 mile over to grandfather's place, and hang the boots on the side of the gig, and then when we got up there, put them on a hitch and rail and put the boots on them and train on that track, and then brought them back through there, and quite cold mornings often, and get the horses done and then fly and have a quick shower and catch a school bus then. So yeah, and then when Dad put a track in at the place, well, that saved us a lot of work, but it was just one of those things we become accustomed to, and then even when we left school and went shearing and that sort of thing, we'd still do the horses before we went shearing, and then madly get in a car or a ute and head to the shearing sheds, and had to be there by 7:30 to pull into gear. So yeah, it was all a lot of work, but we all got used to it. Yeah.
These days, Bernie, the kids get upset if they can't get mobile reception.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, no, it's certainly changed. It puts things into perspective. Yeah.
Carry Value started the ball rolling as far as your father was concerned, but it was a horse by the name of King Rancio that catapulted him into the limelight with his performances at Harold Park.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Caramel Value, he was an unhobbled pacer, and I remember when we were at school, we used to always, often need a toilet break when Menangle was on at the old track in those days, to go in and listen to him race. Take a transistor and put it in our bags outside and down under the stairwell and listen to the races and so forth. And later on then, King Rancio came along, and he was a very powerful, hilarious way colt, and he was a very strong type, and Dad had a real thrill with that horse and won a number of nice races at Harold Park with him and around the place. So, and then he stood him at stud after that as well, as he did with Caramel Value, and it started from there. It certainly did.
So there's some great memories with Nicolong Shadow.
Yeah, well, Nicolong came along quite a few years later, and he took Mum and Dad all over the country, really, racing, in states like Queensland, in South Australia, Melbourne, and even over to West Australia for the Golden Nugget, and then he stayed on for the Inter-Dominion, and of qualified there and run 6th in the final. So yeah, he was a big thrill for him. Yeah, for all the family.
Bernie, what triggered your move from Crookwell to Georges Plain?
We were sort of outgrowing the place at home a bit with the boys, my brothers and myself and sister. So we sort of, there was an opportunity to come along to train Peter Neal's horses, and you know, we thought about it for a bit and decided it might be an opportunity too good to let go. So we made a move to Bathurst, which is only a couple of hours away, but you know, there was races there weekly and trials and so forth, and we used to race there regularly anyway. So yeah, so Kath and I decided to pack up the kids and make the move. So yeah, that's, you know, 20 odd years ago now. So we've ended up after renting for a while of Steve and Jenny and Jimmy Turnbull and Jenny. Well, we bought our own place then, so at Georges Plain. So we've been there quite a number of years now and sort of slowly developing that.
2018, one of the career highlights, winning the Bathurst Gold Crown with the College Chapel. Yeah,
that was terrific. You know, that was terrific to win that home race there at Bathurst. Everyone sort of aspires to win the crown, and lucky enough to do it. Had I think about 3 seconds before we finally cracked it. So that was really, really terrific. Yeah,
I was there that night. Extremely popular, very emotional night.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. The lights went out that night before that final, so it you know, held things up for an hour or two. But you know, to the horse's credit, he was ready for the race, and he went out and got the job done.
Bernie, it's always great to win a Group 1, but when you win it on your home track in front of family and friends, it's just a little bit of icing on the cake. For sure,
yeah. I previously won a Group 1 here with Royal Story and Breeders' Challenge final, and it was terrific too. But like you said, even at the home track, Group 1 was something, as I said, we've been trying to do for a lot of years, and after numerous placings, it was great to knock that one off.
2 years prior, Bernie, you won 3 of the 4 Blue finals.
Yeah, that was a good night. Yeah, we obviously had bred to a lot of, my owners had bred to a lot of New South Wales-based stallions, and we had, I think, 4 runners that night, and yeah, to win 3 of those finals was terrific, yeah.
Strong support of yours through most of your career has been Lex Crosby.
Yeah, Lex has been terrific since I moved to Bathurst and got to know Lex, and we formed a great association, and you know, we've won a lot of nice races, had some nice horses come through the stable from Lex, and mainly through his old foundation mare and his dad's foundation mare. So the family's really come on leaps and bounds the last sort of 10 or 15 years, and we've had a lot of fun together, and hopefully that will continue.
Bernie, as far as your father is concerned, the legacy he left you?
Well, you know, it's not only me, it's the whole family. He's just taught us, you know, try and do the right thing, stay out of trouble, and, you know, just be consistent at work. You know, it's the main thing, sort of getting out of bed. He always said, if you can get out of bed, you always make a success in life. So we've always been able to do that, get up, go to work. We put everything into the horses, as does the kids and Kath, my wife. So, you know, the legacy's there to be seen with all the family. You know, it's everyone works harder to try and achieve.
I was just going to mention your wife, Bernie. Throughout your wonderful career, Kath has been such a staunch and wonderful supporter.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's a hard game to be in, and if you're not born and bred into it, it's even harder. And Kath wasn't, but she's been by my side the whole way through. Works consistently hard all the time at home, and you know, a lot of the times I'm away at the races, Kath's got the farm, you know, running and keeping the horses fed and rugged, and does all the homework. Yeah.
But we're going to see the Hewitt family back in action at Club Menangle on Saturday night, commencing in race 2 with Make Mine Memphis.
Yeah, he's just come back from a long layoff and a bit of an operation, so he's had 2 runs back now and gone quite well both times, or 3 runs now I think it is, and gone quite well. So he's come back in fine fettle. Really looking forward to what he can do in the next few months, and yes, I think he'll go quite well.
In the third, Make Mine Heaven, drawn out wide but a very open race.
Yeah, look, she's a great mare, great consistent mare, just likes a fraction of high speed but tough as nails, and just a lovely mare to have around. Full sister to Make Mine Memphis, and you know, she's one of the better mares in the state, so I think she'll acquit herself well again.
Bernie, over to last, I think this fella's a special on the card. The Mustang, it was hard to miss his run last week, second behind Bad to the Bone. 11 starts at Menangle, yet to win, but this is his race for the taking, I feel.
Yeah, I haven't really had a good look at it yet, but after a busy weekend. But Dougie's been doing all the work with this horse, and we really love him. He's made the Chariots run a great fifth in the Chariots. You know, he's certainly got potential there, great potential, and I think you know, any sort of even lucky will run another big race on Saturday. Yeah.
Well, Bernie, thanks for your time. It's been great to catch up with you again. You've got a commitment coming up very shortly. Thanks for your time.
No worries. Thanks, bye.